The nation's capital. I'm Scott Van Pelt. The Minnesota Timberwolves grab an emphatic 3-0 series lead over Phoenix, a 126-109 final. We are pleased to be joined by Anthony Edwards on the program. And thanks so much for joining us, man. We've been waiting for a chance to visit with you. I'm happy to do it after this win. To grab a victory over a veteran squad on a home floor where they're awfully dangerous this way, what's it say about where your squad is at the moment?
It speak measures, man. I just want to give a shout out to Nikhil, man. Nikhil and Jaden, man. They've been playing at a high level these first 3 games of the playoffs, man. So big shout out to them.
And big shout out to you. I mean, stars bring their best when the best is required. You had 18 of your 36 in the fourth, and it's not like you haven't already been a star, but it appears that there's another gear you're finding in terms of confidence, in terms of patience, knowing when it's time to put your foot on the gas. How would you describe your mentality and how it's evolving, Anthony?
I just want to kill everything in front of me, man. That's the main thing. Pretty much. That's all it is to it.
That's it? All right, well,
Yeah.
and tonight you did. But, look, there's in this league, what the idea of getting that last one is always the most difficult, right? Like to get rid of a proud team.
I've never been here, so I don't know. I can't speak about how tough it is. I mean, I can just come out here and play my game and have my guys ready and be ready to win. I don't know how tough it is. I haven't won a series yet. I've been sent home twice, so I'm thirsty to get it. So I don't know. I don't think we're gonna come out and BS around.
Understood. And maybe you just answered my next question because you haven't been here. But how do you fight human nature? Because it's difficult for us. We're going to talk to Tim Legler here in a minute, right? Like, we can all see what's around the corner, potentially. You're up 3-0. Denver's up 3-0. How do you guys stay locked in on the present and what's required?
I mean, we've never been here before, so I think it's pretty easy for us to lock in on the present. We can't look forward. We can't look past tomorrow or the next game. We gotta look at right now because we've never been here. We just start winning, so we want to keep it going.
Well, you got a chance Sunday night to get rid of what's in front of you, as you just told me. I'll let you get cleaned up tonight, man. Thanks for throwing the headset on and stopping by. Good luck on Sunday night and the rest of the way, all right?
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. Anthony Edwards, 36-point performance as Minnesota gets a big victory. More to come from Phoenix in just a moment. The best thing I saw on this Friday, it was a triple header of games on ESPN, and it started with the best one. We're already in overtime, tied at 1:15 when the Pacers, Aaron Nesmith, corner 3, puts the home team up by 3. Next Bucks possession, Chris Middleton, who hit a big-time 3 late to get it to overtime, banks one in. Clutch bucket from a guy who's been a clutch player in this level and far beyond, into the finals, in fact. Tyrese Halliburton confident, though, in the Pacers huddle.
We're winning the game right now.
Facts, come on.
We're winning the game right now.
Come on.
He was right. They would win the game, but how? Fouled, bucket good, and the foul. What a play from Halliburton. He drives. Float game, Steve.
On point.
3 points. They lead 121-118. Middleton with a chance to answer and force another overtime. It doesn't go. Afterwards, Halliburton on the game winner.
I just knew I was shooting it no matter what. Didn't know what I was going to get to. It just kind of was based off of feel out there. And, Chris pushed Pascal up to tell Patrick to go under. So as soon as I saw Patrick kind of turn his head, I just rejected, and then that opened everything up across the middle. And finally made a shot. I couldn't buy a bucket today, so I'm glad that one went in.
It was not his best night from the floor, but folks will forgive an 8 for 22 night when he's able to deliver the goods when it was absolutely required in the very end, as it's the total of 36 assists through 3 games, the third most through the player's first 3 career playoff games. You're on a list with Kevin Johnson, Chris Paul, and the Big O. That's a decent list to be on. Suns trying to avoid falling into an 0-3 hole. Anthony Edwards, who has been a very confident player throughout, he's been barking at Kevin Durant. You got stars in the building. Beckham, Marvin Harrison Jr. here to watch the NBA stars do their thing. Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards both scored double figures early on as Towns had 10, Edwards 12, 34 first quarter points. It was a brisk pace early on. Kevin Durant hits, and it's 34-32 after a dozen minutes. Suns trailing by 3. Durant still has such a lethal arsenal of offensive moves. It's a 52-51 game. Under 3 to go before halftime, and Ant flexing on everybody. Just wants to kill everything in front of him. Mike Conley, what a huge presence he is on this team. A steady hand, a solid veteran who can deliver in so many ways. It's a 6-point lead. Karl Anthony Towns down the lane. This team boards. This team battles. They've got depth. Karl Anthony Towns is feeling every bit of this. Holds the pose as the lead is swelling to double digits. Rudy Gobert. And then lead is 16 after the made free throw. There goes Ant. That's gorgeous. 95-73 the lead heading into the final dozen. Phoenix started to hit some threes. Got to within that distance where you never know, but the answer was no. Gobert here fouled flagrant 2 on Okogie. He's ejected. And the Timberwolves are a 1 win away from ejecting the Suns from the playoffs at all. Minnesota, that monster third quarter, emphasized Friday. A 16-point margin in this one. Minnesota held the Suns to 0 of 5 from beyond the arc. Again, Phoenix did make a bunch in the fourth, but by that point, it was way too late. In total, they've owned the third quarter by 34 points. Tim Legler is here. And Tim, as we were watching that fourth quarter, you said that there is a glaring difference between these two teams, and it's a long list. It's glaring in what ways to you?
So many different ways. And tonight, I thought, was their best game of the series, which is interesting because Phoenix had one shot to make this a series, and Minnesota hits them with everything they have on both ends. So how many different ways? First, the balance in scoring was what was impressive tonight, because this is something we don't talk about with the Mavericks. We talk about their defense all the time. Look at the number of guys that are making shots on this team. So their offense was humming at a really high level, and they're getting it from different places. Phoenix, they don't have that. They've got 3 guys that are pretty much going to have great nights for them to have a chance to win. That wasn't the case with Minnesota. They've got one superstar offensive player who's capable of doing all kinds of things athletically. And then they've got a bunch of dudes that are more than capable of staying in the lane, filling their role. Something else they had that stood out to me was their defense on their top 3 players. Like the number of guys they could put on. You heard Anthony Edwards give a shout out to Nickeil, Alexander Walker, Jaden McDaniels. There's a reason for that. He's talking about their defense on Booker, Durant, Beal throughout this series. And then, by the way, once they pressure up Scott, what do? They funnel them to all that size. Rudy Gobert back there, Karl Anthony Towns back there, Naz Reid's back there. You can't have a roster full of more complete defensive players than the Minnesota Timberwolves have put together. Their rebounding advantage at the end of possessions, they almost doubled them up on the boards at one point in the fourth quarter on the night. That's demoralizing when you got one shot every time down the floor, and you can't keep them off the offensive glass. You add all that up, and this is just an absolute mismatch. This is probably the worst team Phoenix could have played because of the defensive prowess of this team and the way that Phoenix wants to have space to operate with their 3 elite offensive players. Minnesota was having none of it.
It's interesting, like Curry's already gone. LeBron's down 0-3. KD's down 0-3. I'd say it's like changing of the guard to some degree, but then Denver's over like, we're still here. I mean, it's not, and I alluded to it with Ant, like, we're looking at Denver, Minnesota. That will be nasty. Got to get those 1 wins. But, I mean, it's pretty clear they're on a collision course
That
here.
guard changed last year. So it's only 1 year of that. So Jokic is still a young player. So, they're included in that. So Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, number 1 seed in the West, Luka Doncic. I mean, these are the guys that are coming for them, and it's almost a little bit sad to see this. Like Curry's already home.
Yeah.
LeBron and Durant now on the brink of joining him pretty quickly.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's sad, yeah, but man, everything changes,
Absolutely.
and Ant looks like he's more than ready for this, and you can tell that there's an appetite for it, right? He's like, hey, I don't know what this is. I've been home. He didn't want to go home, and
No doubt about it.
It doesn't
chill everything in front of him.
That's what he wants to do.
Apt description I've ever heard a guy give about his own game.
I'm rarely speechless, so I'm like, all right. Well, let's continue the conversation here. It's how Leg's going to hang out as we get into the Clippers and the Mavericks. This series was knotted up a game apiece, and this felt like a huge swing game, particularly if the Clippers could go in there and grab the victory. And you got Kawhi, and this is a man who's been spectacular in moments like this. Luka on the steal. Beautiful find on the bounce pass. Josh Green goes in. Russell Westbrook, a hard foul. Dallas fans don't like that, and Westbrook's going to give it right back at him. The play's reviewed, and Westbrook, he clearly conks him on the side of the noggin. Westbrook, ball, it's his head. What are you talking about? Doncic, the best in the league at this. The step back, particularly from the wing, hits that three. Mavs have the lead. It's now 5. What a find down low. And what a revelation Derek Lively, the second spin this year. It's a 7-point lead. Doncic stepping back over Kawhi. I wouldn't do that to Kawhi Leonard. That's just me. Obviously, Luka pleases. Beautiful find to Lively. Mavs end the half on a 26-9 run after the Westbrook flagrant foul, and it's a 13-point lead at the half. Clippers down big. Can they find